Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and all things in between. It is your boy Spood coming at you again, quite overdue, with our playoffs top 4 recap analysis. Joining me today, the one, the only, the benevolent, the magnificent, the Carbs Whiteloaf.
Hello, boys and girls. We're not late. We're just looking to the future. That's all. We're not focusing on the past. We're out here looking towards season 5.
Season 5. Yeah, we finished season 4 a couple months ago, and we're moving on to season 5. Signups are going to be starting pretty soon here, and wanted to go back and finish out the YouTube channel. I did the same fucking thing with the other YouTube channel that we lost the login information for, where I uploaded everything up to like the last week or like the second to last week, and then just stopped because the season ended and I just didn't care anymore.
I said, the past is done. Yeah. It's time for the future. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? We're here to break down the 4 incredible matches that made up our top 4 playoffs. This is going to be the semifinals on both sides, the bronze match, which determines who gets 3rd place, and then, of course, the grand finals. Now, starting from the beginning, we'll take it from the top. We'll get in on that exciting stuff, right? We got IDM4, coach of the Brussels Espeons, versus Kenneth, the coach of the Neerdowell Nidokings, on the top side for the semifinals match. This one was pretty exciting. Kenneth and IDM had a pretty close game in the main season. For season 4, they were in the same division, but IDM had bested Kenneth just by the skin of his teeth in that game, and that was the only loss Kenneth took in his pool the entire season. So to have the run back versus IDM, it was either Kenneth gets 2 and outed by the same guy, or he overcomes his bracket demon and advances to grand finals.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't remember the season too well at this point, but I do remember the Kenneth and IDM match being quite good. And like you said, Kenneth just on a tear this season, only losing an IDM.
I will say he did get a little lucky. I say lucky, with an asterisk, but he got a pretty good deal in his playoffs round 1 match versus Jason, where Jason made a pretty awful play at like the very last turn when he essentially had the game in the bag, and allowed Kenneth essentially to take that game to the bank. So Kenneth kind of showed up here, maybe, not fraudulently, but it was definitely like a close scrape. He was, inches away from busting out in 5th, like tying for 5th with all the other playoffs round 1 flunkies like me.
Hey, we take those though.
Hey, yeah, we take those. It's not so bad. Yeah. I lost actually to IDM4, who the story of his season was a little underwhelming. Up to this point, he had a good season. He went 5-2. He lost only to Firebolt and Claire. But he is the kind of guy where if he doesn't go 6-1 or 7-0, then he's having a bad season. He's a monolith, right, for the Double Dip brand. So it's really hard to get around IDM4.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, a bad season for IDM is like making it to grand finals and then like not 3-0ing your opponent. No, not even not winning, just not 3-0ing your opponent.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, that's true in a sense, right? Because he's had, but the thing is, of the 4 seasons we've had so far, spoiler alert, he's only won 1, and that was season 2. Season 2 he won.
This is true.
Now, I will say it was pretty impressive to win season 2, given the jankiness of the playoff structure. He did have to beat a lot of good players twice to do it. So it was a pretty dominant looking win, but aside from that, season 1 he lost to Scoots actually in season 1. He got 6-0'd by Scoots for Uniclus in the semifinals for the playoffs there, and then season 2 he won. Season 3 he brought it to Grands and lost versus Aurora, and season 4. Well, I guess we'll just have to find out if he made it to Grands here, or if he gets slain by Kenneth if he loses the run back. Are you ready to watch?
I am indeed ready.
All right, and I'll get you with the countdown. Which are 3, 2, 1, go. Honestly,
so I am with a nice Cobalion and Ninetales.
Yeah, that. It seemed like a pretty obvious lead. If I were Kenneth, maybe I would have gone like Claydol opener because Ninetales Veil seems pretty obvious, but.
Yeah, but this play is honestly godlike. Doing the substitute to get Cobalion to go for the Iron Head, and then disabling the Iron Head so he can safely get up a Veil.
Yeah.
He does get bricked, but
yeah,
still a godlike play.
Yeah,
honestly.
This Cobalion, I mean, it was obviously custom made to hard counter the Ninetales, so obviously Iron Head because it's quad weak, so you're gonna just pop it in one shot even through Veil, and then you can break the Veil immediately after, if you need to.
Yeah.
But Kenneth keeps it alive, so.
I will never understand why anyone would ever run anything but Prankster on Grimmsnarl.
It's funny. There's another match that comes up where there's like fucking, the opponent is like stacking dark types against this Grimmsnarl. And I would understand in that case if someone brings like 2 or 3 dark types where it's like, fine, I want my, Thunder Waves or whatever to get off.
That is the only one. But even then, like, Prankster, like, screens is still godlike.
Yeah, IDM definitely runs, whack abilities on his Grimmsnarl. He got away with some pickpocket cheese versus Kemeth the first time they played, and this time he brought Frisk. So he brought both non-prankster abilities versus Kemeth both times they played, so that was pretty goofy.
Yeah.
This Machamp has put in just crazy work all season. This thing is insanely deceptively bulky, and the fact that like No Guard and Guts are both actually really good abilities for Machamp means that there's like so much versatility where you can bring it and just like throw off a Toxic on this Palisand and ugh. And actually,
Machamp.
I am going to stop the game here because this is a big turn, and I'd like to talk about it with you if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because I agree.
This Palisand is setting up, and even so, it's toxic, right? And it has Shore Up, but after a certain amount of time, this Palisand will eventually die. It's on a timer. It doesn't have like a Lumberry or whatever. It's a weakness policy. We find out. This Palisand is terrifying. It ends up at because it uses Stockpile. It's essentially like Cosmic Power. So it gets +1 to both defenses. And then it gets Water Compaction from the Gastrodon, and also pops Weakness Policy. So this thing's at +3 defense, +1 Spadef,
+2 special
+2 special attack, +2 attack. So this thing is looking insane, and it's already shown that it has Energy Ball, and we know that it's faster because it goes first that turn. So this Palisand, it does. The thing is, there's like a crossroads of turn, right? So this Palisand can just kill this Gastrodon here, or it can attempt to go for a Shore Up, assuming that maybe it'll switch out, or maybe it's going to be stuck with Scald. Unfortunately, Kemeth is packing for this Palisand, and he hits it with the Clear Smog on the off chance he does not get Energy Bulb that turn, and it pays off. Clear Smog wipes everything, and suddenly this Palisand has no weakness policy, no water compaction, Stockpile's gone. It's gone from being an absolute menace that's you're gonna have to wait out like 5-6 turns before it finally dies of Toxic, at which point it's still like running through a bunch of your team or like wearing it down, to not being much of a threat at all. It's on a timer, it's behind screens that are about to expire, and it has no setup on it anymore.
Yeah, and that's just such a huge problem, because Gastrodon does sit on a good bit of IDM's team right now. Quillfish most likely cannot touch it because it probably has Storm Drain. Regieleki is just never touching this Pokemon ever.
Yeah. Cobalion really can't touch it either.
Yeah, Cobalion's best move is Break, which is not the worst thing, but
it's not strong enough. Yeah, it's like 65 or 75, right, for Break? It's just not much.
Yeah.
So
it's 75. So, and against Gastrodon, that's not doing much.
Yeah. But also the Rindoberry pop earlier was really, really good. So I love watching IDM and Kemeth play, because the last one that we watched during the group stage, that one was really exciting too. There was a lot of depth to sort of the team building and the execution. And I think this is a similar case where I totally get why Palisand would Shore Up here. But you're basically just like, yeah, I have to just hope he doesn't have Clear Smog or Ghost for Scald or something. But Kemeth, he was packing. He was like, all right, I'm scared of something setting up on me. I don't want Swoobat or Palisand or whatever showing up and getting away with stuff. Maybe even for like SD. Well, I guess it wouldn't work on Cabal because it's Steel and it's a poison type move, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was just clever to bring Clear Smog. There was a lot of utility in it. It paid off, definitely.
I agree.
So we're gonna.
I think anytime you have a defensive, it should always have Clear Smog.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Well, see, I feel like Gastrodon is a Pokemon that suffers from the four moves syndrome. You know, where it really would love to run more than 4 moves, but you end up running like, you know, Recover, Scald, Earth Power, and I don't know, something else. I don't really remember like what else Gastrodon runs. It does run Clear Smog relatively often, but it also gets like Toxic and things.
Yeah, Toxic is also nice, but it depends on like what you're going up against. I think for the team he had to get ready for, like, this is probably the best.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we didn't even see what he had besides Scald, Clear Smog. It could have had Toxic, it could have had Earth Power, it could have had Recover. I mean, I feel like it probably would have used Recover. No, wouldn't have made sense because it popped Rindo actually the first time, so it would have died to Energy Ball no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was for the best for sure. And now Palisand's super low. It's not set up. Kemeth gets the opportunity to put his Hail back up, and it's not so stacked against him anymore. And Kemeth knows he's about to get a Brick Break, so he switches right the hell out. He actually goes for Iron Head there, so he would have let the Veil go up, but he was going to kill the Ninetales for it.
Yeah. Scorching Sands from Claydol. Scorching Sands is such a cool move. I'm so glad that we have a Scald for ground types now.
Dude, Isle of Armor had some nutty moves, dude. Scale Shot and you know, Scorching Sands and Poltergeist and shit. Dual Wing Beat, yeah.
Dual Wing Beat?
Dual Wing Beat? Dual Wing Beat Godlike? You already know about Dual Wing Beat.
Look, I'll hear someone talking about Dual Wing Beat. I'm not here to talk anymore.
Not
right?
here to talk.
I'm here to preach the good word.
That's right. And now what's up?
I kind of disagree with bringing out Arctozolt so fast here, actually. I probably would have brought out another one, but...
Well, he was just sacking
at the same time,
Arctozolt
yeah,
there,
like, at the same time, the sack is respectful.
Because he doesn't, you know, Claydol comes in, but it's so slow that it probably doesn't get a chance to Rapid Spin in front of, I mean, definitely not in Swoobat and Regieleki, probably not in front of Quillfish.
No, definitely not.
So, yeah, I get the sack. I think I respect it. I wish, you know, I wasn't super pleased with the Life Orb item choice on Arctozolt. Personally, I think that Boots probably would have been better because his hazard control was kind of lacking. You know, he had one spinner, and that was it. Like, no defogger, no nothing, and he was really not running Boots on, I think, a single Pokemon here. Like, I don't know what he was running on Ninetales, but it wasn't Boots.
Probably Light Clay.
Actually, yeah, it is probably Light Clay. We haven't gotten a chance to actually see the Aurora Veil go past the 4 turns or whatever. Or maybe we did, I forget. Maybe
actually, wait, it might be Icy Rock, because how long has Hail lasted?
Oh yeah, it is Icy Rock. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Icy Rock Ninetales. So it's interesting too because the Ninetales is not running Freeze Dry, which could have helped a lot versus this Quillfish. Because the Quillfish does put up a kind of a fight into the end game.
Yeah, but you know, thank God we got a Tapulele.
Yeah, I actually love the Psych Up Swoobat. I ran Psych Up against this Swoobat the week before, so I don't know if that was like sort of an inspirational moment or if it was just like yeah, you know what? I think it's good versus this team. I don't know what set he was expecting, but he must have been prepped for some kind of Calm Mind situation because he goes for the, you know, he goes for it anyway.
Yeah.
But at this point, yeah, this is kind of tricky for IDM to get through. This thing bulks up, which is pretty scary because it's actually quite defensive. And that is really, I think, that turn. That's like the turn
that's the one that
kills the game.
Yeah, because Machamp has already shown Brick Break.
Yeah.
He just bulked up in front of you. Like, there's no way he's not clicking an attack at this point.
Yeah, seriously, because Regieleki's already shown, or I don't know if it's shown one of its screens already, at least, or both. So, yeah. He was prepped, man. He had the +1 Brick Break. It just clicked right through it. And even IDM goes in chat. He's like, duh, choking Lamau. Which is like, yeah, you know, normally it's like, that sucks, bro. But that's, you know,
That's how it be.
Yeah, that's how it be. And yeah, at this point, you know, he's playing for crit, or he's trying to get like defense drop into something. And there's a defense drop, but it comes just a little bit too late because Facade does over 50. So
Yeah.
oh, he gets the 2-hit KO. This thing's not. This thing is not leftovers. So yeah, I mean, Chemith puts down his rival right now in this game. And it's crazy to see, again, IDM falling just shy of the grand finals. You know, he'd won one more game, he'd be in grands versus whoever won the other semifinal. But instead, you know, he's knocked back down into the bronze match again.
Yep.
IDM is a great player. I still think strongly our best player. But
I agree.
You know, the thing is, his consistency is insane. There's only 2 people as of the end of this season that have made it to playoffs every single season. Do you know who those people are?
IDM and I believe Scoots.
It's IDM and Scoots. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Aurora hasn't done it. I haven't done it. You haven't done it. Chemith hasn't done it. No one's done it except for IDM and Scoots. And dude, IDM's fucking nuts, man. So his placings, I want to literally go over his placings real quick from the last, or from seasons 1 through 3, right? He placed third because he won the bronze match season 1. Then he placed first. Then he placed second. So his average placement across all the seasons thus far was second place. Like, that was his average. So that's just wild. And even Scoots, who has made it to playoffs every season, has done like worse in terms of consistency because he got upset by Firebolt season 3, so he was out round 1. I think he got third season 2 because he lost to Aurora. And then season 1 he got second, so he still had pretty good consistency, but he didn't have that season win, and he also had that sort of busting out early. But IDM is not only going to make it to playoffs, he's going to make it deep into playoffs, no matter what happens. And I think that's like worth its weight in gold in a draft league where it's so competitive that somebody who won the season prior can literally drop out of playoffs the next season.
Yeah. That being said, you know, this time around, Kenneth is the one to move on, but IDM will definitely be back next season, most likely, and, you know, he'll bring back that usual fire that we all know and love.
I fear IDM, man. When he decides, when he wakes up and he's just like, you know what, I'm going to win this match, it's going to happen.
When IDM wakes up and decides, you know what, I'm going to run Imprison Gardevoir today.
In grand fucking finals. Dude, it's one thing to meme in group stage. And trust me, IDM does meme in group stage. And he did lose to Firebolt primarily because he was memeing in group stage, for what it's worth. But even in grand finals, man, this guy, he's a treat to watch. And I don't know. I adore IDM. I think he's so important for the ecosystem of Double Dip. And it's, you know, a lot of people, most people, I think, will want to root for the underdog, right? They'll go into this match and they'll be like, come on, Kevin, kick his ass, dethrone the king. But you can't forget that the king is the king for a reason. The crown did not appear atop his head at random. Yeah. You know, he
didn't just slip on there.
He clawed his way to this reputation, and he really precedes him, so... we love IDM. We love Kemen. You know, it's awesome to see an upset. I mean, even against my boy IDM, who I love with all my heart. Kemeth is my flesh and blood. I could not help but root for him. And to see him honestly playing a very clean game, even if IDM hadn't choked that, like the end game I think was still looking to be somewhat in his favor, because he would have gotten damage on, well, maybe not, because Ninetales was gonna die on rocks, and then Claydol was at 0. So maybe Quillfish actually would have just straight up won. It would have been harder because this thing would have had damage on it.
Yeah, Quillfish could have done it. I do honestly think that the moment that IDM lost the match was when he threw away Palisand. Like when the Clear Smog hit Palisand, I think that's kind of what did it. Because at that point, like, your momentum is gone.
Yeah.
Your head is no longer in the right space. Like, it's just hard to recover from that.
Yeah, and it's a tough, you know, I wouldn't call it a 50-50 necessarily, but there's a lot of unknown variables at that point, so you really have to just choose a play and commit to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, looking at this endgame, it's like, what Machamp can only toxic it. It was already toxic, you know, it can't hit it with Facade or Bulk Up or Brick Break. So, yeah, I think Palisand in the endgame would have been good. Obviously, Quillfish into endgame was quite good. The Swoobat was weirdly played. I don't really understand what the set was supposed to do or counter, because it just loses to the only thing, as far as I can tell, that it was supposed to counter. Unless he was expecting some kind of, like... actually, I feel like I know what this was. I feel like this was for Ditto. I think Palisand...
Ditto would make sense.
Palisand sets up, gets a kill, Ditto comes in, takes Palisand's boost, kills Palisand, and then Swoobat comes in, psychs up, and suddenly is like a menace, right? With all of the stockpile and weakness policy boosts and stuff. So I think we actually talked about this, and that might have literally been the set. In which case, that's dope. But obviously, Kemet didn't even bother bringing Ditto this time, and it paid out. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a lot of talking for just one.
I was about to say we know what happened here. It's time to move on to the next match.
You wanna introduce our next teams, dude?
So I don't remember team names. I know Scoots 33, captain of the Dumblespoods army.
That's right.
And fucking Spoop Man. I'm so sorry, I don't remember what Spoop Man
of the Heerlen Hawluchas.
That's it.
And I realize I'm saying that like an American, like the Heerlen Hawluchas. But
you gosh damn Hawluchas.
Heerlen Hawluchas. I'm so sorry to the beautiful people of the Netherlands for mispronouncing your city name, probably. Unless I nailed it, in which case you're welcome.
Yeah. Either way, both of these great players. Vincent, I think is this his first time with us, or is this his second?
No, this was his second time playing. He played in Season 3, and I can't remember if he made it to playoff Season 3. I think he did.
Yeah.
But then he lost to... I think he lost to Aurora. I think what happened was he made it to playoffs, and then round 1 was knocked out by Aurora in Season 3.
Good old-fashioned European rivalries.
Yeah, seriously. Well, they're creeping in, man. You're starting to lose ground. All these Europeans. We've got like three or four in the league at this point. It's just like, oh shit.
America needs to come back. We need to claim our fucking spots.
I straight up, man. No spoilers for the rest of the top 4, but I don't know. Maybe America shows up. Who knows?
Maybe. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Well,
I can't say the future.
I will say Vincent looking really, really good. Going into this game, he fought Claire and beat Claire, who this was Claire's first season in Double Dip. She had played SSL way back in the Stone Age, when that was the league that this sort of group of people were playing in.
The days of the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, the Shadow days, the dark day, the darkest day. What? That's
the darkest day from Sword and Shield.
Yeah, back in the darkest day of Galar's history. No, it's like SSL. I would say probably not quite as competitive as a league as Double Dip, since everybody's gotten older and has had more time to play, and the meta's developed more. But Claire had done quite well in SSL back in the day. So when Double Dip came around, she was like, all right, I'm kind of out of practice. I don't know if I will perform that well. And so she was seeded accordingly, but then ended up having just an amazing season, running the gauntlet through by far the harder division and winding up in playoffs by a hair over Firebolt, having upset IDM just the week prior to moving into playoffs, and then immediately losing to Vincent from the other division. So Claire had a great season, and then Vincent showed up and was like, "Actually, I'll be taking that. I will be going
my spot.
Yeah, this is my spot." And he's good as hell, man. He got some crazy good wins. He beat me this season. He beat shoot, who else did he beat? I mean, I think he only lost to Aurora and Jason. I believe he beat everybody else. So he beat Cabral and God, it's been. Oh yeah, you.
Actually, wait.
Did he beat you? No, he lost to you.
No,
you're right.
No, he lost to me.
He lost to you. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Nick. Nick's like, actually.
I'm better than Vincent. Never mind the fact that I'm not in playoffs. I'm better.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's so funny. It's been such a long time. It's been months since, and I'm just doing it off the cuff. I'm not even looking at the results, so you'll have to forgive me for my misspeaking on occasion. But what I'm trying to say is Vincent has quickly established himself as a premier threat in double dip, and he's looking good. You know, he's honestly looking like one of those, you know, playoffs top 4 contenders, the way that like Your Best Elevator used to be when he would play. You know, other people like, who's like fringe top 4 playoffs, like I guess me, you, Firebolt.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of in that echelon where if you get him in your pool, right, in your division, you gotta be ready to fucking fight for it, because he's not gonna let you have it for free. So
yeah.
he landed, you know, above Claire for a reason. You know, they both played well, and he just sort of edged her out. And then Scoots, on the other hand, came off of the craziest game, immediately knocking out Aurora, who, like, that was just a whole shit fest, where they both brought, like, this crazy ass... He brought, like, I think it was, Nasty Plot, Disable, Dark Pulse Spectrier, and then Aurora had, like... it was like Power Swap, Recovered, Try Attack, Foul Play, Porygon 2, and they just got locked into this fight where it was like Scoots just very slowly was building these boosts up and then taking a Pokemon, and then Aurora would come back in, take the boosts, recover, stall out turns, Foul Play the sub like 5 times. And also what was really funny about that was Scoots Dark Pulse that Porygon, like, no shit, like 15 or 20 times and didn't flinch it a single time.
Yeah.
Which was very
And if
funny.
I remember correct, I think the only reason that Aurora lost that was because she wasn't running like Foul Play or anything like that.
Well, she was running Foul Play, but she wasn't running like Shadow Ball or like, you know, anything that could hit through, like... The thing was, right, she had Try Attack, and she had like the Power Swap, so she was taking those like +2, +3, whatever boosts that Spectrier was getting off the Nasty Plot. But then she didn't have a move that could hit Spectrier specially, that could actually take advantage of those stolen boosts.
That was it, yeah.
I think the idea, because I don't think she was expecting, like, sub, you know, leftovers, so she kind of expected, I assume, that Foul Play could smack it down in like 2 or 3 shots, and then she would have this boosted Try Attack to start smacking other Pokemon around with, and then it just didn't pan out that way, given that he was running a weirder set than she was, essentially.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like Spectrier's strength and his weakness at the same time, is just that he has this very narrow move pool, so you really have to like stretch it to make it work. But when he gets on a roll, you know, with that thing, it just starts racking up kills with Grimnay. So I think Aurora was like prepped for, you know, like Shadow Ball Stab, and kind of expected like Porygon to like truly wall it and Foul Play it to death, and then he had basically cooked up this sort of anti-Porygon set that edged it out. And all of that is to say, you know, that's not even the match we're about to watch, but all of that is to say,
we're out here in the past.
Scoots, my guy, pulled off a crazy win over Aurora. I would call it an upset for sure. They're both like really good players, but I think Aurora was favored, especially because she had finished out her season 6-1 as well, the same way that Kemeth had. So she was looking like a favorite to make it to Grands, but Scoots really just like stopped her dead in her tracks like early on. So he landed here versus Vincent, and this is like a high stakes, you know, this is like everyone's got something to prove. Scoots wants to drag it all the way to the end game, make it to the grand finals, get that run back, because he hasn't been in grand finals here since season 1, despite landing in playoffs every time. Whereas Vincent is like really starting to make a name for himself, getting that reputation. And if he gets this win on Scoots, advances to grand finals this season, I mean, that says 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
So let's see who done it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's get to the show.
Let's rock. So I'm just gonna start it raw.
Heaven or hell. Let's rock.
Let's rock. This healing list, by the way, just nukes immediately.
Yeah, fuck it. Bruh.
Yeah, so that
people sleep on this fucking lizard, dude.
Yeah, this thing is crazy. I will say the hyper voicing on Araquanid, it had a very popular set back in like Sun and Moon pre-bank, and I guess it probably still gets used in lower tiers on occasion. But Araquanid has insane special defense, so you can actually run Mirror Coat, and you can like just bounce back like special moves double effective. So people would do that shit all the time.
I loved mirror coating Specs Coco. Like,
yeah, it lives it, bro. Even though it's an electric type on a water type, that shit just lives and bounces it back and just boom. Well, the funniest thing for me was like when you'd mirror code a Volt Switch, so they'd have to pick a Pokemon to die.
Yeah, blood for the blood god.
Yeah, it was
also
just...
the mean power whip on Feeny from Gyarados is just ooh.
That was weird. He was like, I guess, sort of baiting him into thinking he didn't have it.
Yeah.
Also, this glass clear is it's Assault Vest. This was something that Scoots and I cooked up. It was supposed to counter the Moltres when it got set up.
Makes sense. Glacier is... I don't know how I feel about this Pokemon. I think it's good, but it is definitely like really slow, and obviously it's an ice type.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Defensively, it's it's got great stats, but it's kind of weak in terms of its like literal typing, and it's so slow that you're gonna have to take multiple hits even if you get set up.
Yeah. Hawluchas just coming in, Volt switching.
Yeah.
Skarmory. I mean, it got up rocks, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much worth it. I mean, here's the problem, right? So, like, Vincent loves running Moxie, right? He doesn't run Intimidate on any of his Intimidators, right? Like, Gyarados and Crocodile both are Intimidate Moxie, and he runs Moxie on both. So he's just running this crazy hyper offense, just trying to get a single setup to the point where he can just kill something. And here he gets it. He gets his +2 speed off agility. He gets his +2 speed off agility. This
game is garbage.
He gets his +2 speed off agility. He gets his +1 special attack off of Berserk, which pops at 50% health or less. You get a +1. And Scizor does die to Fiery Wrath here.
Yes, Vincent... it does. And it is Vincent's fault for not clicking Fiery Wrath. That being said, this game is still garbage. It
definitely sucks because he clicked the wrong button, but it was only like 5% wrong, and he rolled the 5% wrong button. And then he died for it, and then he lost. And that's like the worst thing, because he literally, if he clicked Fiery Wrath, he wins. Heliolisk gets outsped, Scizor, like, it dies right there. Spectre gets outsped and just obliterated by Fiery Wrath. So, this thing, I mean, just wins from here. Unfortunately, Vincent was under the impression, and this, I totally get this, because this is like a nerves thing, right? When you're on the big screen, it's not only that this is like high stakes, this determines whether you go on to grand finals or not. You're doing this on stream, this was all streamed live with commentary, the whole works. So you got all eyes on you, and it's like your game to lose. And Vincent just assumes that Scizor either like resists or double resists Dark because of its Bug Steel typing. Because I believe Steel used to resist Dark but doesn't anymore, and Bug doesn't resist Dark but is super effective against it.
Yeah, so, Steel used to resist everything that wasn't fighting, ground, and fire.
Yeah, crazy shit, by the way. So. Yeah, I totally get, like, in the moment where you're just, like, playing for your life in tournament in front of all these people, it slips your mind that this thing does not resist your Fiery Wrath. But and I was just saying this to Whiteloaf, like, when we were looking over the matches before we recorded, it was like, dude, you gotta just calc every move you take when you're in top 4. Because at that point, it's just like, look, it would have told you that you could do 37 on a +1 Fiery Wrath, so you might as well have clicked it.
Yeah.
And it would have been
if you don't count, you don't win.
And it's like, of all people to do this, Vincent doing it again, because this was the way he lost his first week's match against Jason, was he missed a rock slide or a rock tomb or something. He missed a rock type attack on Jason's Frostmoth and got swept by it when he could have killed it with like a crunch or something.
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. It's tragic. And when I was watching this live, that broke my fucking heart, because I was like, no, dude, you got so robbed. But you kind of
game is trash.
But the worst thing is, you just kind of have to be like, yeah, you reap what you sow. If you clicked Fire Wrath, you won, and then you didn't. Yeah. And you know what? Jason is out of the game because he didn't click U-turn versus Kenneth. So if you're not gonna click Fiery Wrath, and you're gonna click Air Slash, then. Sorry, homie. That's just where we're at.
Yeah, that's how it'll be.
Yeah, and
Pokemon does not have a heart. Pokemon looks at you, spits on your brand new shoes, takes those shoes, throws it in a fire, and tells you to quit crying.
Yeah, get over it. It's just crazy, man. I mean, this is the kind of shit.
It walks out a door and calls you a bitch.
This is really the tough love approach. It's like your dad pushing you down a flight of stairs and tell your friends you walked into a door. It's like, I'm taking this air slash miss.
The fucking lesson was your dad teaching you? Hello?
He was telling me not to play Pokemon. I think I kind of got lost in translation.
You know what? That's a good lesson, though.
Yeah, no. Scoots edges it out versus Spoopman on the 5% air slash miss, which sucks so bad. And even though it is basically Vincent's fault, you hate watching this and just being like, man, he still did like mostly the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then you still lost because you missed. 5%, man. 1 in 20. 1 in 20 chance that Scoots goes on, and he got it.
As a man who says that you should always follow your heart, don't listen to your heart. Ignore your heart. Look at the calc.
Look at the calc. Use your brain. There's no pride in not calcing shit.
Just give it a little peek. You know, your heart won't mind. All right, it will understand.
Just a skosh, bro. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. There ain't nothing wrong with looking.
No, nothing wrong with looking. So it sucks, man. Your boy strikes out. Has to move on to the bronze match versus IDM, which is a position that no person wants to be in. But hey, let's talk about it. IDM versus Spoop, man. Brussels Espeons versus Heerlen Hawluchas. Bronze match fighting for 3rd place. Nothing else. There's nothing on the line. You get no money. You get no kudos for this. You got no stat benefit. It's all do you get 3rd or 4th?
This is strictly to be like, I, at least in this season, am better than you.
Yeah. It's 100%. This is the pride match. So... yeah. And again, you know, both of these people come from such an interesting background where, like, Vincent really is, like, the up-and-comer, and IDM is the established god. And it's like, can you topple the beast after he's been wounded by Kenneth? Can you finish the job and bring yourself to that 3rd place spot?
This is the Shadow of the Colossus.
This is the
PlayStation 4.
You gotta
remade by Blue Sky Studios, I think.
Yeah. Shouts to E3 going on right now.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Shout outs.
So I guess we're gonna jump into it. We haven't really been talking too much about team preview, but before we jump into this, I do want to just note that IDM has some fast fucking Pokemon.
Yeah, he does.
When you look at this, you're like, okay, Selgor and Regieleki go so fast, and then Whimsicott is super fast and has Prankster, and then Grimmsnarl has Prankster.
And then Dragonite has the potential to go super fast.
Yeah, Dragonite fucking gets Tailwind and Dragon Dance, and Silvally gets Tailwind, and that's really it. But, you know...
Wait, Silvally gets Tailwind?
It does! It does get Tailwind!
What the fuck? Wait, does it get Dual Wing Beat?
Dude, I don't know. Probably not, because it doesn't have wings, but, you know.
I don't care then. What's the point?
Yeah, seriously. What's the point of, like, Tailwind if you can't... Look, all I'm saying is IDM's team is fast as shit and looks pretty oppressive to Vincent's team, which is a lot slower and bulkier, with basically one sweeper that really doesn't like getting Regieleki'd, we'll say.
Yeah. He does have the classic funny Hawlucha with the Tapu Bulu, so
yeah,
maybe we'll see some.
That's true.
Some classic unaware bullshit.
The thing is, I like post Unburden like cheese. If you're max speed Hawlucha, I'm pretty sure one rapid spin on Regieleki like outspeeds.
Oh,
which
absolutely.
Is dumb as shit.
But,
so all you have to do is predict it coming in, or like you don't even have to predict it. You just like literally hit rapid spin on anything. So I think really, like, if you're IDM, you're looking at, okay, damage on Bulu, kill the Piloswine, and Regieleki just cleans. I guess you have to also, like, kill the Crocodile, but...
Yeah, those Crocodile's right there, too.
I'm just saying, this guy's got Bird Squad. He's got 3 flying types, so... You know, he pulled up with, like, the gym leader, like, Falconer squad.
Yeah. Alright, well, let's quit wasting time. Let's get in there.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. The classic Savali Fairy. I don't know if I've ever seen someone like run another Savali, at least like usually. Like obviously during draft league, like
yeah,
run,
well, people like
whatever they need to.
I think meta is like Savali Steel and Fairy are both really good. I think some people like Fire because you get Stab Flame Charge, and then I don't know, like I think Savali Ghost because it has like an immunity.
Yeah. I do like the break and the attempt to catch like any sort of screen shenanigans going on.
Yeah, because IDM, he is known for shenanigans with screens, for sure.
Yeah.
You also see the Moxie again. He goes for knock here, just like sacking the hell out of this thing, which I guess is fine because it struggles a lot versus this team, but losing your ground, like one of your ground types for Regieleki is like unfortunate. That though is this. Hello.
This is godlike. Running limber instead of like unburden, like Hawlucha is like.
That's really
anyone who like is like looks at Hawlucha, looks at unaware is like, nah, you a goat. You're the best.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
That's the anti-prankster tech dude. I mean, that's what's crazy about it is he just literally is like, actually, you know what? I'm in a draft league. This guy's got 2 prankster mons. He's got fucking Whimsicott and Grimmsnarl, and both of them can like Thunderwave or Stun Spore me. And if they do that, then I might as well not be running Unburden at all. I might as well have nothing. But if I get Limber, you know, what are they gonna do? So he just does it, man. It's so crazy. I love watching that. Dude, he's a big brain. Can we just talk about Vincent? That guy's brain is too big for his head. It's spilling out of his ears.
So many wrinkles, too.
Yeah, so many wrinkles. This thing's agility.
Like fucking...
Dude, I am just all about speed.
Speed.
Also, Avalanche clean kills this thing through a multi-scale, which is funny as fuck.
Yeah, especially because there's like a fucking pillow swine. It's
Yeah,
not like
not even a mammoth
swine even.
Yeah, IDM's offense is just like struggling to break this team.
Yeah.
He does correctly predict the pile swine, which, makes sense, right? Like, obviously.
Yeah, a little bit of chip is always nice.
Yep.
It's always appreciated. I'm kind of surprised that the pillow swine lives this, but then again, Evilite exists.
Yeah, Eviolite. This thing is crazy. Anything that gets Eviolite that got, like, or anything that has an evolution from, like, Gen 2 or 4 or whatever, pretty much just loves Eviolite. Because they were originally kitted out with stats that were supposed to be, like, a final evolution, and then they get Eviolite on top of it. So shit like Pillow-Swine, Porygon 2, I don't know, Gligar. Like, those things like really abuse the hell out of Eviolite. Tangela, especially, is a good one.
Terry the Tangela. Also,
we agonized over this turn. Can we talk about this turn?
yeah. Let's talk about this turn for a second here. The fucking like double para, like yeah, that sucks. But like then you get like it no longer matters once you land that crit and kill the Grimmsnarl.
So
now we ran some calcs, and by we I mean Spood. I sat here and watched.
Sure.
And it is hard to tell if this crit mattered at all. This could have been a roll. This could have like been like the most important crit ever.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing without like knowing the details of IDM's Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, because when you look at this, right, you're looking at into this end game. Hawlucha, Skarmory, Moltres all lose to Regieleki, which is at full health, and Skarmory doesn't have Sturdy. It's at 43%. Hawlucha doesn't have Unburden, so it's not gonna be able to outspeed. So
actually, wait, do we know what Hawlucha's item is yet?
I don't know. I guess it's...
If it could be Scarfed. If it's Scarfed, I think it does outspeed Aleki. Assuming Aleki itself is also not Scarfed, which, why the fuck would you?
It's not, I don't think. Because I think he did Rapid Spin into Volt Switch.
Yeah.
I guess Hawlucha could have been Scarfed. I don't know.
Yeah.
He only used one move and he didn't show an item, so... And I think if he was running no item, he wouldn't have been running Brave Bird, he would have been running Acro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he might have been Scarfed, which it's true. That could have helped versus Aleki, but I don't know. Really, when you're in this position, I think it's fair to assume that your Regieleki beats the rest of these Pokemon. So all you need is to get through Bulu. And so...
Which, it just got its health back.
Yeah, and Grimmsnarl's just like wailing on it, and it doesn't like get through it. It gets 2 full paras because it got parried earlier. And it just barely lives the second hit. Like the grassy terrain clutches it, lives on 5, and then it gets a Horn Leech. And the thing is, if it had broken through the other para, then it would have gotten Horn Leech back anyway, so it would have been like a higher HP. But it crits, and if this is the Screens the Screens Grimmsnarl set from the Calc, which is max HP, max defense, then the crit did matter because it didn't kill on no crit at the range, but it also might still have not mattered if it was that set, because if he hadn't hit the crit, then he still would have healed off enough off of the Horn Leech to then live what happens later in the game that like determines the end game. So honestly, did the crit matter? I don't know. Our top scholars are trying to figure it out to this day.
If you have any information on whether this crit mattered, please call the number down below.
Yeah, please contact Crime Stoppers, and they'll they'll get back to you. I don't know, man. I love this Excelgor. He just hits the bug buzz. He misses Focus Blast, which is dope.
Yep.
Thing roosts up, which is dope. But I think, yeah, it's just, all he needs to do is just hit 2 Focus Blasts in a row.
Yeah.
Which of course he does.
I don't really know why the sneaky late game Pebbles. I guess, just in case.
I think what he wants to do is maybe, like, pop a sash on Alecki just in case. Like, if that
actually, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Which I like.
Yeah.
But then, fucking Final Gambit Excelgor. Like, you haven't been playing a lot of Showdown, but I've been playing on OU a lot lately, and the Final Gambit Victini is very popular right now. Where people are just like, fuck it, max HP, Final Gambit, kill anything that's not base 100 HP, which is most Pokemon. And Excelgor, it gets enough HP to do it, and it's fast as shit, so you might as well.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah, so he Focus Blasts right through this thing, and then he Final Gambits on the Moltres to make sure he can't set up. And in comes Hawlucha, which is not Scarf.
Oh, yeah.
It's with the Volt Switch, and then it's just between these two. And then Thunder Cage hits. He lives it on 26. So again, debatable if it would have mattered. You'd have to have gotten 26% or greater of a difference in HP off that crit, but then you have to also consider, like, the para, or, like, the full para turn. So it's really, like, up in the air. I will say, if he had killed the Bulu that turn, like if it had been full parrot again, would have been a done deal. But it was not a done deal. And in fact...
It is not the timeline we live in, and because of that, Vincent takes third.
Yep. Vincent takes third over IDM4. IDM4, his worst placing of all time, a 4th place finish, which is insane that the worst you've ever done is 4th, when I've only ever done better than 4th once.
I remember back in the day, back when IDM was still a wee baby, that the joke with IDM4 was that it was IDM 4th place.
Yeah, that was way back. Pokemon Showdown tournaments, he would lose, man. He struggled a lot versus just like the mainstays of that like tournament series, like way early on. Before again he became like the juggernaut that he is. We all start somewhere.
That's true. Rags to riches.
Yeah, rags to riches. But man, IDM in shambles. Like a tough playoffs to come in and get tune-outed by Kenneth and Vincent. Not only does he miss out on his grand finals opportunity, but he loses on the bronze match. And Vincent comes out of here looking like a damn genius. Like he may have gotten 30, may not have been able to get to the very end, but he straight up lost on a 5% miss to Scoots and then won against IDM in the bronze match. So I think this was his day to win it. I think look at you've watched Endgame, right? Or not Endgame, but like Infinity War, where Doctor Strange is seeing all the possibilities. Like, there's like 4 billion possibilities where Vincent wins, and exactly one where he loses, and it's this one.
This was the one. This is the timeline that we live in, where IDM, we go back to IDM 4th.
Yeah. IDM 4th.
Yep.
So
maybe this is the start of a curse. I hope not.
I hope not, dude. I would hate
love
to
our
see
IDM.
him. Yeah, because you know what I want is I want IDM to qualify for World Cup, which is coming up next year. There's going to be a big world tournament on Draft League NL, and the qualifier essentially like you can qualify through points that you accumulate by like placing well or winning different leagues on the site, or you place well based on like your CCS, right? Your coach competitive score. And what's interesting about this season is that because IDM ended pretty low relative to his normal like placement, and because Scoots was kind of on the upswing and they both have a really good record overall, Scoots ended up overtaking IDM on the CCS like globally and in the league, which is nuts because they're both like way up there relatively in the score. And so IDM was eligible to get in on CCS, and now is not. But Scoots is now eligible to get in on CCS. So I think my ideal is like IDM comes back, kicks some ass, and then they can both go to World Cup. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But hey, speaking of Scoots, he may be able to qualify through CCS, but does he have what it takes to bring it home in his own season, double dip, season 4? Scoots versus Kemeth. I mean, this one was crazy. Scoots was in Grand Finals Season 1 versus yours truly. Unfortunately, he was not able to clinch it out. Clutch God over here. So, it's all about, like, can he break through versus Kemeth and show one of the brothers Willems the way to lose? Or is he going to be cut down for the second time in Grand Finals?
Bio Willems,
man. Is the clan versus him, or is he going to overcome? And Kemeth, I mean, is he going to keep the dream run alive, just clinching it out versus Jason, and then just outplaying IDM in that crucial endgame? Can Kemeth bring it all the way home and make the Neerdowell Nidokings get their very first dub, and on top of that, on their very first playoffs?
Yeah. Now, real quick, just talking about team previews, just because, you know, I don't want to, like, accidentally skimp over that again.
Yeah.
I will say, at team preview, this looks bad for Kemeth.
Yeah.
This looks really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do against Renicholas?
What do you do against Scizor, bro?
Yeah, what do you do against Scizor? What do you do against Heliwisk, even? Like, aside from Gastrodon, like, there's not a whole lot that can really touch that either.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, we have Spectrier. Like, you have nothing that can really, like, effectively take a hit and then dish one back. Like, I think your best bet is probably Arctozolt, and that's not really ideal either.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, Kemeth really likes running Sash. Alakazam is a very popular set because obviously Magic Guard means that even in Hail, which he's going to have up a lot, and even if there's Hazards up, which probably will be the case given that Scoots has got a Rhyperior with rocks, or assuming that it has rocks, but probably does, it's a Rhyperior. Assuming that it's like rocks and Hail, you can still come in and use that Sash. But there's also like Life Orb Alakazam, because Magic Guard users with Life Orb don't take Life Orb damage, so they have that longevity and that extra firepower, but I don't know that Kemeth has even used Life Orb Alakazam yet. He has been definitely favoring Sash. He used it versus Woody, at least, and I think he used it versus IDM, but it got pickpocketed by the Grimmsnarl last time they played. So, I think it's pretty fair to assume... Oh, it was also Sash versus Jason. So, this thing loves running Sash. So, I think you could see, like, you know, Alakazam comes in at full health on, like, Spectrier Sweep and forces it out or kills it. Living on 1, or, you know, Ditto comes in after Scoots gets a kill. But then the trouble is Scoots could have kitted out his Spectre to only have Shadow Ball, which then would, of course, be an immunity versus Heliolisk, which is part normal type if he keeps it alive. So,
yeah,
I think this game was like 75% team preview, honestly. Like, the build-up to this 1v1 is very important for determining, like, who wins, who loses, but I think you're definitely right that at team preview, it looks like Kemeth is going to have to climb a mountain here.
Yeah. And let's see if he brought his climbing gear or not.
Yeah, let's see, man. Let's see if he's strapped.
So yeah, just immediately piecing out, because, you know, I'm not I'm not looking to take a bullet punch. No, fuck that.
Yeah, that's definitely the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reuniclus immediately comes in, because, like, what the hell is Kemeth going to do about it? He has nothing for it.
Yeah, like, he literally cannot touch it.
So here's his strat. I don't love the Mudslap spam, you know?
The second I saw that, I knew that was an omen.
Yeah, that's just like you really reap what you sow, you know?
Yeah.
He did, I mean, at least he forced out the Reuniclus. The thing is, I think Reuniclus just straight up wins this game as soon as it gets the opportunity to set up, and Kemeth knows that, so he's using Mudslap to sort of force these scenarios where maybe it has to switch out, because he doesn't really have much else that he can hit it with, you know? Like a Bolt Beak, I don't even think is going to kill, like, a defensive Reuniclus from full.
Yeah. I actually just realized, why did he not use like a psychic or? Well, I guess he could have been running Psyshock actually, because I feel like that's still neutral against rock if I remember correctly.
Psychic? Yeah, it should be, I think.
Yeah.
Who
So that
knows?
way you at least get rid of the Rhyperior.
Yeah. Well,
Why can't I remember like Rhyperior's like second form?
What, right on?
These nuts?
Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't believe I fell for that. I wanted to mansplain so bad. I knew as soon as I said it, I was like, God damn it, I know. I know.
The worst part is, like, I fucked it up, too. I was supposed to say this dick.
Yeah, alright, whatever. Right on, even. Well, Kenneth is playing this one like full scum. He's really just like, I gotta get a burn, I gotta get a freeze, I gotta get something, you know?
Yeah, like this is rough for your boy right now.
Yeah, and you know, for what it's worth, he did beat Scoots in the run-up to this game. You know, they were in the same division as well. He was able to beat him their first playthrough, and it's kind of unintuitive when you think about it, or if you don't think about it hard enough, but essentially, when you beat somebody the first time you play, there's not a lot of knowledge that you can glean from that game because they get to adapt to what they lost to, but you only know what you beat them with, and you know that they're going to adapt to it. So you basically just have to find a second different way to beat their team, independent of the first way you beat their team, whereas they know at least one way that they can lose, and they will definitely cover it.
Yeah. Also, I do love knocking off the bright powder for Ditto. You know, you don't want to like mess around with that at all.
No, I mean, I think what he was probably assuming it was like Scarf, which obviously, you know, it would probably be Scarf normally, but, you know, he's just fucking around. So.
Well, that, and I feel like that is actually a good idea because of Spectrier. Like, you don't want to be locked in to just Shadow Ball. Like, I do feel like Kenneth probably accounted for that.
See, that's fair, but I don't believe Kenneth drafted any normal types, and if you wanted to, like, you wouldn't even have to run Dark Pulse or anything. You could just only have, like, I don't know, sub Will-O-Wisp, Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, and then you'd still be in the same shithole because you can't, like, alternate moves, right, to hit anything.
This is true, yeah.
But then I guess you could just set up Nasty Plots or whatever, so...
Yeah, and this way, like, you know, if he's not running that, like, you at least have that insurance.
Yeah. And Kenneth, I think at this point, he pretty much knows that, like, into this endgame, he's going to have to get insanely lucky. You know, he's already very well aware of the fact that this Reuniclus is, you know, the stored power recover, or I think it's Psyshock instead of stored power, but it's Acid Armor, Calm Mind recover, and then one attack. So, yeah, Psyshock.
Actually, now that I think about it, I'm actually shocked that he did not pack Clear Smog for this one.
You know, he probably could have done that instead of Mud Slap. It probably would have been better. But the thing is, like, this thing, you know, Reuniclus does get Energy Ball, so he might have been expecting it to come, like, prepared to smack him back.
Oh, true.
So, again, it's a tricky thing to, like, you know, you can't cover absolutely everything you think the opponent's going to bring. Also, that Toxicness is huge. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
Definitely sucks.
Yeah,
I also, and again, I don't love the Life Orb on Arctozolt, unless it, like, made the difference on, like, a Reuniclus roll, like, either a 2-hit or 1-hit KO'd it. He shouldn't have brought it, I don't think. He would have been better off with, like, boots.
Yeah.
But then that's what I was telling you about, too, is, like, the Focus Sash keeps him alive versus Spectrier, and then, boom, Ditto can come out and freely click Shadow Ball. He just has to win a speed tie, which he does. Good shit.
The only problem is, you know, Scizor is right there, and it's just gonna come out and
Bullet Punch, yeah. And you could, like, really debate this end game was kind of tricky, right? You could have maybe kept your your Ditto alive and maybe brought it in on Reuniclus after it's set up, but then you'd be absorbing any Mud Slaps that you gave it. Or, you know, you wouldn't, like, you'd be able to recover, but then you'd be at a disadvantage by PP because you only have 5 apiece. And, like, Spoop can sit on Scizor, but maybe if it's, like, SD Scizor, you know, you would eventually lose to it anyway. So there's, like, a lot of hypotheticals that you can debate about this endgame, but Kenneth ended up deciding that he wanted to commit to playing out sort of a potential, like, PP stall miss, you know, like, he just was really hoping this Reuniclus would run out of Psyshocks and just not hit any of them, and then he'd be able to just sort of sit on it forever.
Yeah, which is understandable, like sometimes that is just how you have to play the game.
Yeah. But it's again, it's tough because eventually, even if you do successfully PP stall this thing, it has a ton of PP because it has like Calm Mind and Acid Armor and shit, which are 32 a pop. And then assuming Recover is also 16 a pop, then you're you got to go through like 78 or like 82 or whatever PP, and then Scizor comes in. And then you are probably out of Scalds, probably out of Mud Slaps, low on Recovers if you still have any.
Yeah.
So even in the best case scenario, like the likelihood of Kenneth winning when it got to the point where he lost his Ditto was just so low that it was pretty much over. I think if he really was like thinking about maximizing his chances of winning, because at that point it was Scoot's favored, so he was going to have to find some way to swing RNG into his favor. I think a better way to do it would have been to switch out and keep his Ditto instead of sacking it to Scizor Bullet Punch, going into Squoop, forcing Reuniclus out, letting it set up on you a bit, and then bringing in your Ditto again, and then absorbing like its stat increases, and then critting it with Psyshock, and then doubling back out into Squoop, and then 1v1ing the Scizor at full PP. That is obviously like very roundabout and still puts him at a huge disadvantage because there's a lot of plays he has to make perfectly, whereas Scoots has a lot of leeway to make less than perfect plays and still get away with them in that endgame. But yeah, it's tough. How the hell does he break through Reuniclus and Scizor? He just ended up not being able to.
Yeah, I feel like the only way he could have brought that back is if maybe he saved like Lele a little bit longer, just so he could like play around with Psychic Terrain, maybe potentially have the Psychic Terrain up while he
Ditto
has
is
Ditto
out. Yeah.
Spectrier. But like even then, I feel like at that point, like that's a whole different game as well. Like I feel like if that was the case, Scoots would have accounted for that and would have played around that as well.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, man. I mean, there's a reason we're not the ones in grand finals. All we could do is speculate about what could have happened. But the reality is that Scoots, after beating Aurora and Vincent, beats Kemeth and secures his very first win in Double Dip Draft.
USA.
USA! USA! Yeah, I mean, that's so funny, dude. USA got first and second. Europe got third and fourth. So we'll take it.
As God intended.
Sit down, Euros.
Yeah,
I'm super proud. I think Kemeth did really, really well this season. I think that, given that he was in such a stacked division, it's incredible that he made it this far. And Scoots, I mean, he had, I think, the hardest time on everybody. I believe he came in at fourth in his division, so he made it in just barely over Firebolt and managed to get all the way to grand finals and then win. So, I mean, I think both of these players are just a testament to, resilience and I don't know, they put on a fucking good show, and I loved it. And I think that people really pull out all the stops when they go on these top 4 playoffs matches. I love watching it. I think it's my favorite part of the whole season is, if you're out, then you get to kick your feet up and watch some good damn Pokemon. If you're still in, then it's you have to Jimmy Neutron brain blast your way through 4 matches if you want to win. So,
yeah, brain blast every 3 moves. It'll be
you gotta just come prepared. You gotta have that limber Hawlucha in the back or something,
Yeah.
So.
Gotta keep that imprisoned Gardevoir on deck.
On deck. But that's it, man. That's the conclusion of Double Dip Season 4. Scoots comes in first, Kemeth in second, Vincent, Spootman, Heerlen, Hawluchas in third, IDM4 bringing it up in 4th place. 5th place, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head, was myself, Claire, Aurora, and Jason. And
that
then,
sounds about right.
Yeah, and then after that, I wouldn't be able to remember it off the top of my head. But,
yeah.
It was a good fucking season. It was a very competitive season. I expect the next season is going to be even more cutthroat than this one, but hopefully with a little bit better seeded divisions. And hopefully even more good YouTube content. So make sure to keep your eyes open. We're going to get this up. We're going to get up the actual replays. I'm going to post the full stream for playoffs if you want to watch it, including commentary. And I think we're going to be cooking up a trailer for Season 5 soon. I think that's coming in the next day or so. We're going to talk about that with Cabral, I think literally right after this video's over. So get hyped, guys. Season 5, it's coming.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Right around.
Would you like to give the final sign off for season 4? Hit the people with something to remember.
Look, all I'm saying is you better look forward to season 5. All right, we're gonna have some fucking monsters. Spectre's gonna be banned probably.
Maybe. We'll see. It's definitely rumors now. So.
Yeah, we gotta actually talk about battles.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the drawing board on some of these. Do you know that, like, Galarian Slowking is like tier 4 right now?
What the fuck?
Literally, Crown Tundra had just come out, and we were like, oh, it's probably not gonna be that good. So we put it in tier 4.
Oh wait, okay. I thought for some reason tier 4 meant like lower tier. Like I thought it was going like tier 1, like top tier, tier 2.
That is.
Yeah, shit like that.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. No, we put
No.
Slowking Galar in tier 4 because Crown Tundra had just dropped when we were playing.
Oh, you're talking about for this season?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We gotta reassess a lot of these seeds. Is what I'm trying to say.
We do. Yeah, we fucking do.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight. I'm Spood, coach of the Southtown Sandslashers, joining me with Whiteloaf with the Loafville Lanterns. We are going to be seeing you guys in the next season of Double Dip. Stay tuned for more content. Peace!
Get that bread.